Hello, good morning friends. Welcome back to your favorite channel Code One Digest. Today in this video we will learn what is single responsibility principle. Yes friend, we will see the use cases of single responsibility principle. I will show you the Java code implementation of single responsibility principle and we will also discuss the benefit of single responsibility principle. Friends, in the previous video we discussed about solid principles and its background. Can you explain what is solid principle all about and why it is so important in object oriented design and programming? Please reply your answer in the comment section. And if you have not seen the previous video, I would recommend you to go and see that video. The link is given on your screen and also in the description section of this video. Just to recall the solid principles establish practices that lend to developing the software with consideration for maintaining and extending as a project grows. Adopting these practices can also contribute to avoid code smells and refactoring of code. For more information, please go and watch the previous video. Friends, here is the agenda of the today. We will see what is single responsibility principle. Then we will see real world example of single responsibility principle. We also see a Java code implementation of single responsibility principle. And then we'll understand where to use single responsibility principle. What is the use case of single responsibility principle? Then we will understand the benefit of single responsibility principle. Then I'll summarize what we learned in this video and I will give you a very brief about next video on open and close principle. So this is the agenda for today. So stay tuned till end of this video. Friends, before we proceed in this video, I want you to subscribe my channel to grow Code One Digest family. Friends, I'm creating a lot of quality contents for you, but I'm not getting subscribers. I want you to like, share and subscribe my channel so that I can grow Code One Digest family. Thank you.
All right, let's get started.
Okay, friends, let's start with the single responsibility principle. Single responsibility principle is a part of solid principles, and single responsibility principle is the first principle in the solid principles that we have. Single responsibility principle states that a class should have one and only one reasons to change, meaning a class should have only one job. We don't want to have objects that have unrelated behavior, such as dirty classes are harder to maintain. For example, if you have class that we change a lot and for different reasons are harder to maintain. But if this class is broken down into more classes and now each class handling a single concern, surely these classes are easier to maintain. We all know that the requirement changes over time. Each of them also changes the responsibility of at least one class. The more responsibilities your class has, the more often you need to change it. If your classes implement multiple responsibilities, they are no longer independent of each other. Depending on your changes, you might need to update the dependencies or recompile the dependent classes even though they are not directly affected by your change. In the end, you need to change your class more often and each change is more complicated, has more side effects and require a lot more work than it should have. So it's better to avoid this problem by making sure that each class has only one responsibility. Always validate your design and ask a simple question to yourself. If you build your software over a longer period and if you need to adapt it to changing requirements, it might seem like easiest and fastest approach is adding a method or functionality to your existing code instead of writing a new class or component. But that often results in classes with more than one responsibility and make it more and more difficult to maintain the software. You can avoid this problem by asking a simple question before you make any change, like what is the responsibility of your class, component, or microservices? If your answer includes the word and, you are most likely breaking the single responsibility principle. Then it's better to take a step back and rethink your current approach. There is most likely a better way to implement it. Friends, I have prepared a code snippet for single responsibility principle. I have shared this project in our GitHub repository. You can download the code and play with it. You can see the repository link is there on your screen and also provided in the description section of this video. So go and download this code and play with it. Now let me give you a code walkthrough for single responsibility principle. I have written this code in Java and I'm using Java 8 with IntelliJ IDE. Friends, now let me show you the code that I have written for single responsibility principle. I have created a project, solid principle, and in that I have a package, single responsibility principle. Now here if you see I have a class, student. Now in this class I have defined three different responsibilities for the student class, that is register a student, then calculate student results, and send email. If you see, the student class above violates the single responsibility principle. Why? This student class has three responsibilities, that is registering the student, calculating their result, and sending out email to students. The code above will work perfectly fine but will lead to some challenges. We cannot make this code reusable for other classes or objects. The class has a whole lot of logic interconnected that we would have a hard time fixing errors. As the code grows, so does the logic, and making it even harder to understand what's going on. Now let's see a solution with the single responsibility principle. That is, we have separated this logic into different classes, separate classes. That is, student register will have only one method for registering the student, then student result to calculate student result, and student emails to send emails to the students. Now, if you see the solution, single responsibility principle, so we have separated each functionality in our program. We can call the classes anywhere we want to use them in our code. The example we use just show each class having one method. This is mainly for simplicity. You can have as many methods as you want, but they should be linked to a responsibility of that class. Now that we have separated the logic of our code is easier to understand, and each functionality has its own class, we can test for error more efficiently. The code is now reusable. Before we could only use this functionality inside one class, but now they can be used in any class. The code is also easily maintainable and scalable because instead of reading interconnected lines of code, we have separated concern so we can focus on the features we want to work on. Okay, friends, the very first question comes to our mind, where and how to use single responsibility principle in our project. So, use single responsibility principle if you have a class or a method or any microservice doing multiple jobs. Use single responsibility principle whenever you want to simplify your code. Use single responsibility principle whenever you want to make your code simpler, easy to understand, easy to read, and easy to maintain. Use single responsibility principle if your project is growing faster and bigger and you feel any modification in a class would break other functionality. So, what are the benefits and advantages we get from single responsibility principle? Single responsibility principle makes your software easier to implement and prevents unexpected side effects of future changes. Using single responsibility principle and classes have only one responsibility are much easier to explain, understand, and implement than the one that provides a solution for everything. Okay, friends, now let me summarize what we learned in this video today. We understood what is single responsibility principle. We saw a real world example of single responsibility principle. We saw Java code implementation of single responsibility principle. We saw the use cases of single responsibility principle, and we also discussed the benefits of single responsibility principle. Friends, let me know if you have already used single responsibility principle in your project or seen a scenario where this principle can be useful. Please reply your answer in the comment section of this video. Friends, in the next video, we will cover open and close principle. We will learn what are open and close principle. We will see the usage of open and close principle. We will understand the benefits of open and close principle, and we will also see a Java code implementation of open and close principle. So stay tuned for the next video and do subscribe to the channel if you are new to the channel. Friends, if you like this video, so give it a thumbs up. And subscribe to this channel for the more interesting videos. Click on the bell icon for the latest video notifications and do not forget to share this video with all your friends and colleagues. This is very useful information for students, beginners and software engineers. I am putting a lot of efforts in creating these contents. So please help me growing the Code One Digest family. Please subscribe to Code One Digest channel for the latest programming and technology related videos. Thank you.